Welcome to D20 Woodworking, and I'm excited today to have Greg Favro on the channel. We're going to be talking about his games. For those that don't know, Favro has Spire's End Hildegard, Spire's End Rangitaki, and soon to be Spire's End Volume 2, Episode 1. All these games so far are some of my favorite games as a solo player. They're absolutely phenomenal. I cannot highly recommend all of them enough. They are fantastic. You can get every single one of his games over on spiresend.com. I'll put the link down below in the description. But we're going to talk about kind of his journey. We're going to talk about the design process, the experience with Kickstarter, all that stuff. And we're going to talk a bit about Spire's End Volume 2, Episode 1. And I need to warn you that really quick that this game is an 18 plus game. And I know a lot of people in my community have kids or younger kids or whatever that listen or watch this channel. May not be the best episode for them. We talk a bit about the game and some of the parts of it. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. But it's a game that I'm really excited to pre-order. The pre-orders will be opening up real soon or by the time you watch this, they already may be live. Again, he's not doing a Kickstarter for Volume 2, Episode 1. It's just pre-orders up on his website. So I really appreciate Greg doing this and talking to me, and I hope you enjoy this interview as well. Well, let's first start, if you don't mind, Greg, just kind of introducing yourself, a little bit about your background, well, your personal
Mm-mm.
history, and kind of, I guess, how you first started designing board games.
Yeah, yeah. I've been a graphic designer, art director for like 20 years. I worked on like exciting things, and I worked on really mundane and banal things. And when I got to the point where I was working for an ink and toner company, just not a very flashy or sexy product. And I'd been there for like 6 years. I just needed to do something that was inspiring. And
Mhm.
I remember I was just out on a walk during lunch or something, and I was just like, I gotta figure something else out that's compelling. And I've always had this idea for a game in the back of my head, um kind of like an answer to like DMing D&D or something like that.
Okay.
Like I always found it frustrating to like have to get a group together and have somebody like make stuff up and everything. It just never worked for me. It was like everything was so cool about D&D except for like the main component. so I was just like I love choose your own adventure books from when I was a kid, and I was like, man, I want to do some sort of like heightened choose your own adventure experience where you're
Mhm,
kind of you can play it by yourself.
mhm.
And then I remember I played Kingdom Death by myself,
Mhm.
and I was like, this is awesome. And that was it was just I hadn't played any solo experience board games really at the time, and
Okay.
that was like 7 years ago or something. And so yeah, I had a story, I had an idea for a game that no one had ever made.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, this is something I actually have the skills for,
Mhm.
so I'll just try. And then I just kind of made it on my own, and I tested it on people at my job. And I like worked on it at lunch at my job and printed it out there and everything. And I made people play it, and everyone was like, yeah, I think it might work. So I just put it up on Kickstarter, just no just and I couldn't believe it. Like, I didn't like, when I talked to, I think it was, I don't know who I talked to, it was like Backer Kid or something, and they asked me how many, like, how many followers I had and
Yeah.
stuff, and they're like, "That's no indication of, like, anything," and they're like, "You'll be lucky if you get 100 people or 200 people or something." So I fully expected for it not to work, and
Mhm.
then I got, like, 2,000 in a few days or something, and I remember I was like I was ready to vomit. I couldn't. I was terrified. I was like, "Oh my god! I just made." Everyone was calling me, and it was such a small thing at the time. It made like, I don't know, 75K or something. But to
Mhm.
me, that was like,
Yeah.
it was like big time. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I got 2,000 people that want this game. I've never made anything before. I have no idea what I'm doing. No clue. Um, but yeah, and then it just kind of spiraled from there. And then now that's all I do.
Mm.
I
Just
I
make the game.
design,
Mm.
yeah, design, write, do all the production, do everything. The only thing I don't do is the illustrations. And even if I even color them.
Okay.
And then I do fulfillment out of I have everything sent to my garage. I fulfill everything myself.
Jeez.
So yeah, it's just the and now it's just the full-time gig. So
When you
that's like my whole that's the whole
Yeah.
story. But
So
yeah.
when it first succeeds funding and you're like, okay, you have this great idea because I love Spire's End, and you're like, okay, what next? Like, did you already have like it figured out to like how to get it printed and all this stuff, or did you kind of have to figure it out as you went?
Um Kind of a bit of both. I have a
Okay.
lot of experience in print and stuff. I used to
Okay.
make like I made everything like in terms of like physical media. Um I did like DVD box covers for a while at a
Okay.
place in the valley. I worked for blind companies where I'd make those giant sample boxes of swatches. So I've got a lot of experience with like, you know, physical things like that. So as far as putting together, the file, the production work and the cards and all that stuff, that's all stuff that I'm very comfortable with. But in terms of writing a game and
Mm,
you know, uh and making everything function as a board game or a card game could function. That Yeah, it's the first time for me making that particular type of, you know,
yeah.
physical thing.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, you just kind of wing it and you kind of, especially on that first one, man. I didn't even, I mean, so yeah, it was very, very, very guerrilla style. Like so much so that I I mean, I don't even think the actual full game. uh, I mean, I don't know if I should divulge, but
It's fine.
I don't think anybody outside of my house ever played it before it went into mass production.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's how crazy it was. Yeah. So yeah,
That's
just
that's crazy, dude. That really is. And one of the things that I always find like fascinating with it is like the branching storylines, right? So I mean, you can go down this route this one time, the other route. I played one time and I just like suddenly died, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm not where I wanted to be yet. Like, what's the process for writing that? Because I assume there's just so much to keep track of with like storylines and making sure it goes in a decent direction without punishing the player too much.
yeah. Um, that first game, honestly, I didn't really worry about whether I was punishing the player or not because it was supposed to be based on kind of like the retro,
Mm,
like like Zork was a big inspiration for that game.
okay.
Zork and like point and click, adventure games
Mhm.
and text adventure games, and then just D&D and stuff like that. But I kind of treated it like a choose your adventure where it just kind of abruptly ended, and that was
Mm,
just tough luck. Like on in that first game, and a lot of people that put a lot of people out. They're
mm.
like, I made a choice and I didn't really have a lot to go on, and then my game just ended. And I was like, yeah, well, that was by design.
Yeah, that's the
It
point.
was kind of, it was kind of supposed to piss you off a little bit. I mean, those games pissed me off. I can, but I remember enjoying being angry about it. I
Mhm,
remember, it's kind of, I suppose it's kind of counterintuitive, or you think as a game designer, the last thing you want to do is, upset the player. But for that first game, it was kind of like I wanted there to be these ruthless, just abrupt endings where you're
mhm,
like, "What the f? I didn't like what, like why?" And then, but I always tried to make it so that each little ending had some sliver of the story in it.
mhm.
So no ending except for one. There was no. No, I think most of the endings, they all gave you something, whether you knew it or not.
Okay.
Like, so I figured, I could have an abrupt ending, but it needs to give you a clue or a hint or something to go on, even if you don't realize it at the time. Like the first
Mhm,
game, like one of them, you can randomly drown in a giant vat of blood, and the point was, that the game is kind of built on blood, and if
mhm.
you, without spoiling
Sure,
the
yeah.
game, the blood's very important
Mm,
to the story. So I was like, well, that's stuff for, stuff like that. So
excellent, yeah. So, alright, the first game comes out, major success. Did you always have the idea for a sequel with, Hildegard next, or after it succeeds, you're like, "Well, maybe I could do this again?"
um well, I said I forgot just one thing on the last one.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about the
sure.
story, the story arcs. I didn't really
Mhm,
get to that.
yeah,
I mean, basically just to keep it, I have a giant kind of roadmap.
okay.
and I just kind of I put a square as like a card, and I draw, on Illustrator, and I just kind of make this big flow chart
Mm,
of it. There's a program you can use that people use for actually like choose your adventure and text adventures, stuff like that. I don't use it. I just kind of do it myself, and I just have this giant. Yeah, it's just a map, and it
mm,
just kind of it charts the progress, and I have it can get really confusing. The first game wasn't so bad though. Hildegard's where things got really, complicated. But
mm.
okay, sorry. So go on. What was the question again about Hildegard? Where it went next?
Yeah, so with Hildegard, you know, you have Spire's End and it succeeds. It does really, really well. Were you originally planning to ever do a sequel, or was it something that, people obviously loved Spire's End and were like, "Hey, I want more of this world. Like, can you do more?" Like,
Yeah.
kind of how was that approached?
Um, as soon as it had come out and the reception was decent. The basically what I told my wife and everybody was, I'll do something else if people don't hate it, because who knows? I had
Yeah,
no
yeah.
idea, and there was so many problems with that first game. It wasn't it when it came out, it was just an absolute nightmare. It was horrible. Every problem I could have had, I had, and I didn't. I remember I was calling like designers, the other
Mm,
board game designers, and just like complaining to them. People I barely knew, just asking. I was like, I need help. This is terrible. But as soon as I got over all that stuff and
mm,
things started to, and it seemed like people were liking it, like the reviews and like Board Game Geeks and stuff like that were really good. And once I felt good about it, then I was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to do another one. And I don't think I ever really considered doing Spires in 2 at the time because I was just so done with black and white and red
oh,
and
yeah.
blood and guts and stuff like that. Like I'd made that kind of game and I'd lived in it for like 2 years and I was just like, I don't know if I can do this again right now. I
Mm,
want to do something else first. And so I thought, um, I have all these characters and I specifically made it so you don't know anything about any of them. Like there
mm,
isn't a line in anything that says
yeah.
anything about those characters at all. Because it was supposed to be kind of like Zork and stuff where it's very like vacant and empty. Like
Mhm,
there's nothing there in terms of it's just kind of you in a kind of lonely environment, even though you have these characters. But I just wanted it to be kind of open for interpretation that way. But after staring at these illustrations for, years, I thought, well, which is the one that compels me the most? And I was like, I like Hildegard the most. And I was like, I've got this ferret and I've got, she just looks cool. I was like, there could be a backstory. She could have her own like adventure that isn't a gore fest type
mhm,
thing. Cause I want to do something light, you know. So I just thought, let's make a cozy fall
mhm,
game where I can use nice pastels and colors and make it like a road trip kind of Wizard of Oz, like, you know, romp
yeah.
type thing. And so then that's what I went with. And I was like, well, maybe, more people will play it. We can get kind of like a younger audience and maybe the people that, you know, wanted smashing heads and stuff like that will still come along, you know?
Mhm,
So yeah, that's how it came about. And then from there I was like, well, let's do another character.
mm,
And me and a friend of mine were really into like tiki stuff,
okay.
and I've always been into. There's a really famous tiki bar in Los Angeles that we go to, and we go to Trader Vic's when it used to be. Anyhow, it's got history for us. So I was telling him like, let's do because I got this wild character that doesn't belong in there at the very end. It was one of those things where I talk a lot here, so
Oh, that's fine,
hopefully
yeah.
hopefully that's good. Hopefully that's good for this medium.
Yes, it is.
Um, at the very end of the first game, we needed one more character,
Mm,
and I was like, "Let's just do something crazy. Let's have like some sort of islander, like person that doesn't belong in there at all. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Let's make her like like a tiki kind of South Polynesian, even though it's not Polynesian. It's nondescript, but
yeah.
let's just do something like that and make it wild, and then we'll figure out later who she is and what she's doing there." And so then I was like, because the Hildegard thing worked out really well because that was during COVID and everything.
Yeah.
and that was the big one. That was the one that I don't know if it was lightning in a I don't know what happened, but that game did crazy good.
Mm.
And so I was like, well, let's do it again, you know. And so then, yeah, that's how Rangitaki came about.
Mm.
Um, then after Rangitaki had ended, I was like, I'm ready for Blood and Guts again, and I
Cycle it
want to
back
make
around.
yeah. And then I was like, I want to do an adult game, but this one's going to be hardcore. Like I'm just doing it exactly the way I want it. I'm not gonna, I don't care what anybody thinks, kind of thing. So we got it's this one's got everything. I went hard the other way, so
It's so
um,
much more punishing and whatnot with it.
not no, not punishing.
Okay.
No, just the content.
Oh, okay.
This is a 18 and up game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Excellent. That's
There's sex, there's violence, there's swearing, there's body horror, there's I got I whatever I wanted to do, I did. I like on I think it was because of Rangitaki, I got so much at the beginning, I got so much grief for the social aspects of the
mm,
cultural and ethnic kind of
yeah.
situation. I don't know if that's ever something you saw with that game, but
Yeah.
I had people saying that I should make it, and it was too, that it just wasn't appropriate. It
Okay.
was, it wasn't. It was, disrespectful to island culture and things like that. And I kept trying to tell people, this is purely made up,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Just
I had, I
fun.
mean, I had arguments with not arguments, civilized conversations with influencers in the board game community that literally came at me and were like, we will not support you unless
Mm,
you get a cultural advisor and all this stuff. And I was like, I respect what you're saying, but at the same time, this is art. This is
yeah.
something that, and I'm not doing anything that's particular to any, culture.
Right.
I'm not, we even
Right.
made up all the names. There's nothing that's Hawaiian in it. There's nothing
Yeah.
that's Polynesian in it. It's just, tiki is so boiled down. They have tiki birthday parties. Is that
Yeah.
culturally, is that ethnically, you know, whatever.
Wrong
I,
or
I
anything.
know I
Yeah.
roll off. I roll off on a lot of tangents, as you can see. But
Nah,
so
that's
anyhow,
fine.
yeah. So it got me back to Spire's End.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
And
So
you
now I'm back to yeah.
and you were like, let's just go all out. I love that. I love that you're taking that approach. I think that's phenomenal. And I think that's what I've always liked about all the games. For me, because Rangitaki, Hildegard, all of them, like I love every single one. I think they're all amazing, and more so because they play so differently than each other, which I think is kind of one of the
Mm,
coolest things that you did. Because like it was like one of Hildegard's first nouns, so I remember some people were like, "Oh, is it going to be kind of more the same, just a different art style?" And then once you start seeing
yeah.
the
Yeah.
plays of it, it's like, "Oh no, this is very different and fantastic."
Mm. Yeah. It was funny. It's one of those. It's like that second album syndrome thing. I'm
Mm.
always like, I'm like, if you go too different, people aren't going to like it. If you do the same thing, people are going to say you just did the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, where do you go? So my thing has always been, if I kind of keep the DNA of how the game navigates, like if the cards
Mm.
always kind of have that, it's kind of like I want you to say, oh, it's a Spire's End game. I know it's going to have a deck. I know
Right.
you're going to start at the top. I know you're never going to do any backtracking and you're always going to pick choices. It's always going to have the same kind of phrases, the pull or retrieve,
Yeah.
like you're going to
Yeah.
take a card out. So there's core elements that I've kept in every single game, but then once you get to like the encounters, I wanted them all to have a different slant to them.
Yeah.
And because it just got, as a designer, you know, I'm one of those people where I want to do something different each time.
Mhm.
They don't want this to be like fighting fantasy or something like that, where you just
Yeah.
bring out a million books that are all done the same way and they're just different story. There's nothing wrong with them. They're great.
Yeah.
But this is, it's a different medium. And if you have
Mhm.
cards, you have opportunities to do all kinds of weird things,
Yeah.
So I was just like, I want it to be weird. I want it to be different. I want someone to play it and go, that people don't normally do this, or this isn't the way you do it.
Mhm.
Like this isn't right. Like why is it happening this way? This isn't the way a normal board game. And I'm like, that's right. This isn't a normal board game. We're not going by any conventions. I'm gonna do it like I've never played a board game before, and we're gonna
Right.
do it our way. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, I don't even go on and I don't even look anymore because the people that it's just like what
No reason to, man. No reason
you
to.
can come along, and some people get it, so
Yeah.
that's always good.
One of the things I thought was interesting too with the I guess the business model side of things was the little expansion packs you sell, right? Like you don't
Yeah.
need them, but you have them and I eat them up. I'm like, "Yes, absolutely. Like give me every
And I
single
even
one."
say it. Even
Yeah.
on even in the descriptions, it says you don't. It says this is just this is extra stuff that's not essential. It
Mhm.
literally just I don't want people to think. I've had people email me. They're like, "You and your FOMO, you suck," and
Oh
all
my
this.
gosh,
I'm
yeah.
like, really? It's a business. I don't. I want people to want to get the stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of yeah. You never. It's amazing the stuff you get. But anyhow, you're saying about the packs.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that I always love them because you could sit for me, it's like, okay, I know I can play base game Hildegard or Spire's End or Rangitaki, whatever. And it's like, no, now I can add a little bit more because I've played this scenario a dozen times,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
say, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
that little extra. So is it for you when you design it, is it something that after you finish the main game, you're like, okay, you know what? I've played it and we could have expanded a little more here, and that's what caused it? Or is it feedback from people, or kind of how does the expansion system work in your mind with when you design it?
Um. Well, I don't think about that till the game's done.
Okay.
For one, because people are always like, "Well, why didn't you just include that in there?"
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? And then even just from my perspective, I try like the first one I did, the bows and breakfast deal,
Mhm.
for Hildegard. So the game was done, and I remember I was like, "I gotta have something else to include with this Kickstarter." And so it just came up as like, it was just like, I want something non-consequential,
Yeah.
something frivolous and fluffy but fun. You know what I mean? And something I can accomplish and have something for before this thing comes out.
Mhm.
I was like, what can I actually do quick enough? And I was like, oh, I always wanted there to be more menu items in the
Mm.
Hungry Hog. Just I love the little Hungry Hog thing and the little tavern, and I always want to do a whole like adventure in there. So I was like, what can we do? And I was making my daughter waffles, and I was like, "Let's okay." I was like, "She's gonna have So that's just how it happened. And I was like, "We're gonna have waffles on the menu, and you're gonna have to eat the waffles, and it's gonna be this really stupid but fun little thing." And I want people to go, "What the hell? I bought this little
Mhm.
expansion. The actual expansion is about waffles." And you know what I mean? And so I wanted people to be like, "What the hell?" I thought that, but at the same time say this is cool because no one
Yeah.
else would do this.
Yeah.
I want to have that. That's what I want. That's what I want from this each time. I want someone to go, oh, I don't know whether I've succeeded or not. I
Mhm.
want someone to go, oh, well, okay, I'll go with this, but kind of off the beaten path or a little strange, or I don't know why anybody would do this, but this is cool. So that
I
that
love
that's
it.
kind of that's kind of like the premise.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and then after that one worked, and it's just kind of always a but after that first one, actually, what I did was I thought, um, for each one, I did pick a goal after that. It
Okay.
was what could the game use that would make it better now? And so after that first one, what I tried to do, was um, fill a void. So, um, for example, with Crows and Crawdads, the idea was that the squid fight is the only fight you really can't skip. I tried to
Right.
make it so that you can skip almost everything, or if you didn't like a certain fight, you could find a way to get around it, or you could
Mhm.
use an item to skip it, or there's a fight, where there's like a bear and a wolf,
Okay.
and you know what I mean. Like I tried to make it so
Yeah.
that every time you got to something, there was a little bit of variety,
Mhm.
and that was the first fight where I had made it kind of a choke point where everybody had to do it.
Mhm.
And so the idea was, well, let's give them another alternative for that so that
Mhm.
you're not always playing, that fight over and over and over again since everybody has to do it. So that was the point of that one. And then the other one was the scarecrow. I figured, it's the first big
Mm.
fight in the game. People are going to get real tired of that one
Yeah.
probably the fastest because you're going to play that one the most.
Sure.
So I was like, let's do a complete alternate version of that encounter. So
Mhm.
that was yeah,
Whatever the
it's like
next one was, yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. So after that, I tried to just make it like it was kind of like an encounter replacement. You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it.
So I did that a few times, and then the last one was back to like the waffles thing, where I was like, I just want to do something goofy.
Yeah.
Um,
That's great. Um, one of the things also I love is because I don't, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think for the first Kickstarter, you didn't have a play mat, right? For the first Spire's
mm-mm.
End. And I remember
Dude,
seeing,
I had
yeah.
no idea how to do any of that stuff. You know, I didn't have any idea. I was terrified of putting anything on there because I was afraid I wasn't going to get it done. You
hmm
know, so yeah. Anyhow, but go ahead.
No, I was gonna say because I personally I missed the first Kickstarter Spire's End, and because some people on Instagram was like, D20, you have to try this game. You'll love it. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then I tried it after the fact when it came to retail, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. So I hopped on Hildegard. I think then, or maybe it was Rangitaki, that you had the play mat, and I was like, this is amazing. It's beautiful. It's clean. It's simple. I just like that wherever like a thing belongs, it belongs in that spot. And that's so
Mm-mm-mm.
well designed. So really kudos to you on that because I love the play mats. To me, that just brings out more of the experience. Was that something that you kind of like listened to the community on and they said like, hey, we really want this, or it was just something you're like, hey, this can help enhance the whole experience as a whole?
Um, yeah. Let's how it, trying to think how that kind of all. I
Mm,
mean, it's not an exciting answer, but the first answer, and the one it's not inspiring, but it's kind of like, I have this game and I'd like to have something that an add-on that's
yeah.
good, not
Yeah.
something, because I there's so many add-ons that are just garbage with everyone's. And my whole thing has always been, I'm not going to do much, only the essentials, even though I just went
Right.
through a whole thing about I'd made all these card packs that are not essential. But I'm trying to just make, the best add-ons I can do. And so, with playmats, I just kind of looked at a lot of different playmats and I tried to
Mm,
decide, what would work best for me. And I don't like patterns. I'm very kind of minimalistic. I like the playmats that more or less just have tell me where to put things,
yeah. Yeah.
without a ton of illustration, because I just feel like it mucks everything up. And we spend so much time making all the card, every single card as pretty as we can. I don't want anything to take away from that,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want someone to tell me where things should go and keep it
Mhm.
tidy. You know what I mean? So that's what I would want someone to do for me. So that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
Is just say, hey, this is how I envision the setup. You do it however you like. But if you want to do it the way I thought it, should lay out, then here
That's
you
it.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that, I mean, yeah. And I just looked at a bunch and I decided what I thought was most effective for this game.
Yeah.
There was some people that like the theme born guys, that do
Mhm.
Escape the Dark Tower and Sector and stuff like that. Whom I talked to those guys, but not that it matters, but just random. Um, and I liked their playmat.
Mm.
It was very simple. Just a few people that I thought did it right.
Yeah. Yeah, get a little
Kingdom, King,
inspiration.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was just like, okay, well, I'll try and do. Yeah, I remember. I even remember I had that game, I had that playmat, and I
Mhm.
thought this playmat works well for what they're trying to do. And it's about as similar a game as you can get to mine.
Okay.
Even though I really don't think there's any games that are like mine,
Yeah.
really. Um, but that's kind of
Mhm.
the closest one. And that's actually why I reached out to them. I was like, hey, we should have a chat since we've got things that are similar. People always compare my game to your game, so let's compare notes.
Yeah.
But
All right, perfect. So, if you don't mind talking about this, you mentioned before kind of like the issues that you had in the beginning.
oh, I love
And
talking about that stuff.
oh yeah, so
Oh
what's
my
like an
god.
example of like what happened that went wrong?
Fulfillment is just
Mm,
nasty. It's just a
mhm.
nasty thing. And so I went with one company that will shall remain nameless, and they gave me a quote. And then when it came time, they doubled it. Like,
Oh my
I
God.
mean, it was like double. And I said, you guys gave me a quote, and I based all my
Yeah.
charging on your quote. How can I deal with that? I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
And he said, so I at the last minute, I had to scramble and find someone else to do it. So, again, for a first time person, and I'm already a very high strung, tightly wound person. So for me, that was just terrible. So I did find somebody. It ended up costing more than it should, of course,
Mm,
lost money that way. And then here's where it gets. they send the games out, right? They send it in a box, probably about an inch bigger than the game. So it's
Okay.
kind of like shaking around in there. They put nothing in the box. They put nothing in the box. The box, and it wasn't even the cardboard of the box wasn't even standard shipping cardboard. It was a little thinner.
Okay.
So they sent it. They sent it with no packing in a thinner box. And the first person who got the game, the very first person, got their box. The game was damaged, and it was missing the sleeve. It was missing some. It was missing the sleeves. So the order was wrong, and the game was damaged.
God.
Oh no! And the third thing, and the print job, there was all this. The coating on the cards was splattered.
Oh my God.
Um, so I had three problems immediately, and that happened with the whole run. The whole run, like a fourth of them were coming damaged. A fourth of them had faulty printing, and the packaging was not what they said it was going to be. So just, I
God.
mean, it was so bad. It was so bad. I had to send out so many new ones, to all these people, and fork over, just pulled it out of my own pocket, just ship them
Yeah.
out and stuff. So yeah, that was the first game, and it was just a nightmare. Um,
Did you have to go back to the manufacturer and be like, WTF? Like, what is
yes.
going on?
Well, first I got a hold of the packing company
Okay.
and got him on some from like Hong Kong on a video chat. I'm just screaming. I was so mad. I was just like, what the, you guys said
Yeah.
you're gonna fill the void. You're gonna fill the void. You're gonna fill the void in the box. No void was filled. And yeah, and then I got my manufacturer and I was screaming at them. I made them send me new packs of cards.
Okay.
And then I was able to send out replacement card deck to whomever wanted one.
Hmm.
So I had to go through that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just game one. Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot, but I mean, things don't ever change. Like I'm stuck with my here, I'll give you just my latest problem.
Yeah, sure.
This is the most fun. So I finally, there was during all the start of the tariffs thing and everything, and there was just tons of problems like last January and February and stuff like that. And that was right when my next shipment of the original game was going to show up. So it finally shows up. These two guys show up at my place that don't speak English, and they texted me before they came, and they say, "Hey, do you have anybody to help unload?" I'm like, help unload? Like, what do you mean? You guys are the delivery service.
Yeah.
You're bringing them on pallets. And he's like, well, we're not going to take them off the truck. I'm like, you're not going to take the pallets, the giant pallets off the truck? There's a private residence. I have a garage. I'm not this isn't a business where I have a loading zone.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, and I was like, what's going to happen? So they show up. There's two guys in a truck. They're like, you can give us more money to take them off for you, or we're out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I paid for a delivery. So I
Yeah.
got my guy in Hong Kong on the phone because they didn't speak English. They were talking through a phone to me. And so
Okay.
they're yelling in Mandarin back and forth in my garage at each other, like arguing and stuff. Finally, these guys try and bring him out. The thing falls in the car. And I have two guys trying to hold, they're going to get crushed. And they're in my street. And people are coming out because they're screaming and they're
Yeah.
holding up a pallet as it's going to crush them. One of them, they barely strap this thing around it, and they finally get it off. They finally get off. They get it in my garage. My guy, my manufacturing, the coordinator is watching this whole thing go down. They finally leave. I'm like, thank you for fixing that and at least getting them in here. I open it up, and I'm not kidding you. The titles were upside down on the boxes.
Oh no.
After all of that, the titles were upside down on the boxes. And I just hold it up to him and I'm like, what the F? You guys, this is your sixth printing of this thing. How in the world are the freaking titles upside down? It took like 6 months to get these things. I can't sell a goddamn one of these things. Not one. So if you'd like to know what I've been doing this morning is I've been shrink wrapping games because they had to reprint every box,
Okay.
ship them over here with the shrink wrap. And then I had to go buy shrink wrap equipment and I have to shrink wrap myself 2,000 games in the garage to sell them. So That's what I've
God.
been doing for the past week. My wife and I break down. I would take the old box, I rip them apart, I throw them out. I'm getting real good at it, though, man. I could
Oh
shrink
yeah.
wrap anything.
There you go. New
But
business opportunity.
yeah, yeah. So there you go. There's a whole bunch of there's all the
That's
yes.
wild, dude. That's wild. It's man, it's amazing to me that after all those issues you had the first time, you're like, yeah, you know what? Let's do this again. This will be fine.
I said I wouldn't do it at the time. I said I wouldn't. I
Yeah,
told everybody I was like, I'll never do anything like this again. This is horrible. So and then yeah, and then I did it again
yeah, yeah.
because at that time that it's like my job and making the games is so much fun. I mean,
Okay.
it's so much fun. I love just working on it. Testing games is not fun, but but creating the games, it's a blast, and I love it. I love
Mm,
working with the artists. I have such cool artists, um, all over the world,
yeah.
and it's so much fun that it's hard to,
Put
it's
it
like I want to
down.
be a game, yeah, I want to be a game designer. It's just a lot of
The all the
challenges.
extra stuff that you wouldn't expect to have to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
All right, so let's talk about the new one, right? Let's talk about Spire's End Volume 2,
yeah.
episode 1. So, I guess first, episode 1, so we can expect episode 2? Okay. So, if you don't
Yeah,
mind, yeah.
yeah. So these games take too long to make. I
Mm,
mean, just straight out. I mean, the first game took, like 2 years, second game like a
jeez.
year and a half, the third game like maybe a year and
Okay.
it ends up being about a year and a half on average for the last two games. So two, if I don't count kind of like the pre
Okay.
phase. So Rangitaki really probably took almost 2 years. It's
Jeez.
just too long. I mean, it's just too long. It's too long of a period of time. Plus, I had a partner on that, and I thought it would make it go quicker, but it actually went slower. And it's not
Mm,
his fault at all. It's the fact that you're working with somebody else, you're working through ideas and everything. And I just thought two would be faster, and it wasn't. So
mm,
it was like I did these games with myself. I did these with a partner. That didn't make it faster.
right.
So I was like, what's another thing I can do? Well, if I get rid of Kickstarter and I get rid of crowdfunding, it takes me like 3 months just to do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get rid of that. And then I thought, well, if I could focus on, you know, not, it's not really less content because there's actually more cards than Spire's
Mm,
End, but there are smaller cards, and I tried to make it more focused. So
okay.
the idea here is to get more content out quicker,
Mm,
make more product faster.
yeah.
So I want it to be. At first, I was going to go, okay, well, maybe I'll release a chapter at a time. But I was like, you know what? These are really episodes
Mm,
now, and so I plan it. It's kind of like a three-story act, like a
okay.
movie. So this is Act One, which
Mm,
would be Episode One, and I plan on 3 episodes. So it's giving me. I'm able to focus on just this portion of it.
yeah.
It's easier to not have the blueprint of everything, and I can kind of extrapolate on what episode one is.
Mm,
So yeah, I thought it'd be cool. I always think, hey, if I was getting this game and I knew that next year the continuation of this thing was happening, I'd be like, oh, if I like it, that's
yeah.
a cool thing. I'd be like, oh, that's cool. It's gonna be, an episode of the show, you know.
Mm,
But in
mhm.
this it's like a, card game. So I mean, that's the idea. And then, so I did, the first one was, kind of like that dungeon crawler. Second
Sure.
one is like kind of like the fantasy road trip. Third one is like my apocalypto type thing, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like uh tropical like adventure cannibal
Yeah.
thing. Um and then so this one I wanted to do a western that happens basically this game is happening at the same time as the first game,
Okay.
and everything's going to kind of converge together.
Okay.
So you're going to meet, so you have, like six guys in the first game, you have five guys in this game.
Mhm.
So, but this time, the I've tried to go more and more narrative driven as I go.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
Hildegard, you don't get to know anything about Hildegard really,
Mhm.
or her sister, and I remember people complaining about that. But again, that was kind of the I didn't
Yeah.
want that. I wanted you to have a character that you were playing through. Whereas the
Mhm.
first game, you didn't have any of that. You were just you kinda. You
Yeah.
were kind of like a nameless person. You didn't even know which one of the party you were. It was just kind of like it was happening. So the second game, I was like, okay, we're gonna pick somebody and we're gonna actually be that person, but we're not gonna go into background and all that stuff. It's gonna be just kind of like what's happening in the moment.
Mhm.
So and then Rangitaki, I was like, okay, well now let's try and fill it out. Well, she'll have a family and she'll have a backstory and she'll have, you know, things that are happening with her. So I tried to put in like flashbacks and memories and, you know, tried to
Yeah.
fill out her story a bit. So this is a full blown story. This has got
Okay.
5 characters. They all have motivations, personalities. They all have their own way of talking. It's like a real, I treat it like a real novella this time. So this
Yeah.
game it's almost purely dialogue driven.
Mhm.
It's like a dialogue driven adventure. There's none of
Yeah.
that. You walk into a hallway, you see blah, 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 blah. You'll never have that in this game. This is always, you know, people talking out things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So that's the I try to, you know, create a different goal each time.
No, that's cool.
So this one's very heavy on, and it took. I had started writing this game the same time as I was writing Rangitaki, so it's been that long.
Okay. Wow. Wow.
I
Yeah.
wrote them
So
both. I was writing them both at the same time, and I was trying to decide which one to go with.
mm,
And I felt like I still wasn't ready to get back to the black and white and red stuff.
yeah.
So I figured, oh, let's just do it afterward. So it had
So
been sitting on the back for a while.
mhm.
So yeah, so now the first game was primarily black, so I decided let's reverse it, and this game would be primarily red.
Okay.
So now we're doing red with black and white, whereas the first game was black and white with some red.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so for at least episode one is the red game,
Mhm.
and then I mean I know where it's going in terms of like uh, the story and things like that, but I think the next game is going to be kind of gray. I think it's going to be
Okay.
a non-colored game. And then we're just going to go right back where we were. It's going to be the same kind of colors as it was on the first game. So
That's what I was gonna kinda ask, like, when you do the story for episode 1, do you already written out or in your head have a rough idea of what 2 and 3 is gonna look like, or
yeah,
okay.
and yeah. I mean, I can like the this one is getting to know our team. You know,
Yeah, okay.
this is about getting to know the characters. It's kind of like the Odd Couple. I got like kind of 2 grumbly old guys this time. We got 2 girls in the last one, so I
Mhm.
figured let's do a male driven one this time,
Yeah.
which also made it, you know, rougher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
This isn't a cute teen girl. These are 2 older guys that, you know, one of them, you know, has killed a lot of people
Mhm.
and totally fine with that. And he runs a brothel in Seacrest, and he's been up to a lot of, but it's been really fun. So I got these 2 like Odd Couple characters, and it's about kind of getting to know them.
Okay.
That's what this one's about. So that I'm hoping the second one you'll care. um, and it'll be my Empire Strikes Back where we're gonna split the team up.
Mhm.
So you get to know everybody, you know. Then we're gonna split them up in the second one, and then everyone's gonna come back together in the third one. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, hopefully it'll have like I know what the big, you know, ending with every character from the first game, this game. You know, it's
Yeah.
like your big like I don't know, Return of the Jedi ending where you got like the teams doing different things, all trying to
Yeah.
get the thing done and you know all the stuff. So yeah, I know where it's going. I'm excited about it. This first one, you know, I'm my big concern is the whole. Do you have any dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour line? You
Mm.
know, like Jurassic Park, like
Oh, yeah.
where so, because there's not a lot of Spire in the Spire's End game, because the premise is these guys, the main character is a little bit outside of town, and
Okay.
he feels the ground shake, and he's just far enough away where he can't see what's going on. So
Mhm.
kind of like people show up and they're like, "Hey, we need to go back. You know, there's crazy things are happening back there."
Mhm.
So we're we're going to, the game we're heading there. We're heading to find
Yeah.
out, what
Yeah.
happened. Whereas in the
Right.
first game, you're there and you're going to find out. In this game, you're not there, but you got a little traveling to do first.
No, that's
So
cool. That's
yeah.
cool. I like that. I like that a lot. All right. So the last thing I want to ask you about, because obviously the past three were Kickstarters, this one is not. Kind of talk about, I guess, really the decision why. I mean, you kind of talked about speed. Is that the main motivation, or is it just you don't
No,
want to deal
no,
with the
that was just
hassles?
no, that was a perk, really.
Yeah.
That was a perk. Um, there's a ton of reasons, really, and we'll find out in 2 days if any of them were worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, Sorry, I know I look like
Nah, it's all good.
it's like I have a black bandana around my eyes. Um, I honestly, I'm just tired of the nonsense that goes with it.
Yeah.
It's it provides so much additional stress and just the sheer exhaustion of doing a Kickstarter is and the open forum of just everybody, it the weight of it is, you wouldn't think it's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
you're you're bombarded for like 30 days. Every second of every day, someone's doing something. Someone's telling you you're a big piece of trash because you did this or this. So, in 1 second someone's praising you, and the other second you're the worst thing in the world.
Oh
I
my
was just like,
gosh.
I don't need the voice. I don't need those
Yeah.
voices, screaming at me. Everyone's saying, well, why aren't you selling all the games at once? It's easy, just make enough for us to do everything. No one ever, considers, any of the business elements and doing
Yeah.
this stuff and how difficult it is to, put up a game, let alone have a million stretch goals and all these bonuses. And, it's just, it comes off as a very negative, like,
Yeah.
experience for for a creator, at least my experience. You know, yeah, I just, it's just tough. So anyhow, I just thought to myself, at this point in time, I have over 10,000 people I can email on BackerKit. I
Mm.
have that because once you're using BackerKit, you get to retain all the people that have backed
Okay.
your game or pledged the game over all three Kickstarters.
Yeah.
And it's not, and it's perfectly fine to do that. I can email through there. So I got like 10,000 people through there. You have another 10,000 people through my site, and then I got the Kickstarter people. So between those three buckets of people that have followed along, you know, I'm thinking, well, why don't I just try?
Yeah.
What if I don't have anyone to answer to, and I'm not having to give away 15% of the money and worry about, because that's ultimately a lot of it too. Because
Mm.
you're terrified of how much money you're going to have to give to BackerKit and to Kickstarter, and then you have to pay for the VAT fees and everything overseas and stuff like that,
Okay.
which is terrifying because you're charging people in advance for something and taxes can change.
Yeah.
And for a single guy, doing all that stuff, it's a lot. And if I just do it myself, I don't have to answer anybody for one. I don't have to say how many games are being sold or pay
Mm.
10, 15% of that or pay BackerKit for advertising or, for clicks that come in through them and I lose everything. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but like on BackerKit, if they have like advertising and things, if you if someone goes from them, if they click on their email instead of mine, I basically flatline. I make no money off that game at all.
Really?
Nothing, nothing. You make all virtually nothing.
Wow.
Depending upon your ROAS, your return on
Yeah.
investment or whatever, they recommend that you just break even so that your numbers can continue to go up so you can play the numbers game and trying to get more people to pile
Oh
on and
my
all this stuff.
god.
So it's very, very, very stressful,
Yeah.
to with all these moving parts. So I'm just like, I just want to be simple.
Yeah.
I brought out, like my little expansions. All I do is I just say pre-order, and then when I have it, I click order. And I was just
Yeah.
like, you know what, we'll just do it. And I'm not doing a nickel of advertising. Nothing. I'm
Love it.
doing nothing. I'm just gonna turn it on and I'm gonna see what happens. And if I figure, you know, if even a third or a fourth of the people
Mhm.
that show up that are in all those buckets, I would do really well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Might as
just
well.
like, yeah, so I'm just like, screw it. I'll just, you know, and I can, and I don't have to worry about like the 18 plus thing.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I've tried to make it aware that this is not Hildegard, you know. I mean, you would not I there's some stuff. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Serious stuff, yeah.
yeah, so which I love. Like my wife can are we free to are we in a forum here where we can talk about
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We can talk about whatever.
trying to decide whether or not this is too spoilery for people that care.
Well, we can give a spoiler
Yeah,
warning
there's a
here.
little. You know what? I don't want to bring. I don't want to do it. It'll be fun
Alright.
because if you're playing it, I'm hoping I want you to play it and go, holy shit! Like
Yeah.
what? What am I playing? Like what? Did I read that correctly? Like that really happened in this thing? Like, are you kidding me? So I want you to do that. I hope you do.
Yeah, we'll just say
But the steps to getting there. I was going through the steps. It's going to be hard. Like I bet like 10% of people are. Um, Do we have more time to talk? I mean, I'll tell you
yeah,
what I kind of.
yeah,
So the other thing I tried to do with this game was I've never been too concerned about. I mean, I want the games to be replayable,
yeah,
right? But only to a certain degree because my whole feeling on this kind of thing is that I want it to be an experience based game where you can't have an experience 100 times.
right.
You know, it's kind of like reading a book for the first time. It's like, you know, when you say, "Oh, what's the book I could reread for the first time again?" You
Mm,
know, and or the movie I could watch again for the first time. So I kind of take that approach where with it, where this is something you can actually rewatch or replay for the
okay,
first time because you can go different routes. But
yeah,
after you've expended that, you well, for one, if you like it enough and you're enjoying yourself, you will expend it. You'll get to the point where you haven't gotten anything more to do there.
mhm,
But I'm just hoping that you'll clock out thinking it was a worthy experience. You know what I
yeah,
mean? This isn't, you know, a game where you sit down like chess or, you know, or anything or crokinole or any old thing, you know, like you, I want there to be a time where you're like, okay, I did it, you know, and it's done and it
mhm,
was awesome, you know, like so, you know, what I did with this one in particular to that was I tried to make it where you can play this one a lot more since it is an episode.
okay,
Um, there's a lot more little nuances to I think it's kind of like the only thing I can compare it to I think is the first chapter of Hildegard. There's kind of a lot going on, but
mhm,
it can go really quick.
yeah,
This one takes a little longer,
okay,
um, but there is a lot of stuff in there.
oh,
I think you can play this chapter a lot more than any of the other chapters. And well, it's not really a chapter. It's kind of bigger than a chapter, but smaller than like. I mean, Rangitaki was too big for. I mean, it's like it was Rangitaki and Hildegard were probably not going to make a game
that
that
big again.
extensive, that big
Yeah,
again. It just takes too many. Just takes too long.
yeah,
So I tried to make this enough. It's like the right amount of content, you know, for the
mm,
amount of cards, and tried to make it so you could you know, so the goal is, you know, story driven, dialogue driven, and have more to do. Um, so
s
yeah, I mean, there it
look at it,
is.
love it,
Um, I can show you a few quick things. Like there
yeah,
was we did a map for Rangitaki,
mhm,
and it came out really well. So I did a map of kind of like the whole land kind of
yeah,
thing. So
okay,
that I mean, this took months to color. I was but anyhow, it came out really cool. So there's a map and the instruction booklet. And then the other thing, you know, I try every single time to have something completely different.
mhm,
So this time I took the cards from the first game that you used, you know, that you turned over and the enemies, it would say it would give you a number,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then that would do the attack. So in this game, I have this thing, it's like a pictograph puzzle type thing where you're going to lay out all these little cards in
okay,
rows and basically you're going to let the illustrations decide where you want to go.
wow, okay,
and that's it. You're only gonna have that. So like for let me see, where's the damn camera on this thing? So there's the main character, and you can see he's up against the wall
Yeah.
listening. And here you have one where you can see he's up against that door, peering through the keyhole.
Yeah.
So so these are going to be next to each other, and you're going to just have to decide from this: do I want to listen or do I want to
Hmm.
see? And it doesn't even say what it is. You're just
Right.
going to go off of the picture, and
Huh.
then you're going to flip it over, and there's going to be an answer, and then you're going to go to the next row, and there's going to be another set of illustrations, and you're going to pick from that. Um, I call these events. There's
Okay.
three of them. There's three of them, and on each one of these like events, there's probably. I mean, the first one has five outcomes.
Hmm.
So even on the little event, you would play the little event five times and probably not, see what's behind each of those cards.
Wow.
So that was like the big new thing that I had to work out,
Yeah.
like the mechanics of it, which was exceptionally difficult to try and because it's the
Yeah.
opposite of what you do in the game. Because in the game, you'd have a card, and it would say go to card two.
Right.
So now I've got five cards here, and basically what you do is you eliminate a few each time. So
Okay.
like if you were to look through it, one of those um, next things can't occur now because you
Hmm.
looked because you didn't listen. You're
It
one of
changes
these is
it.
not going to
Yeah.
work anymore. So you're going to pull things out,
Huh.
and then that's going to keep going. So it's kind of like you're going to flip one over, and it's going to say eliminate three from row two. And you're like, oh, okay, all those things are going away.
Huh.
And then
Yeah.
you'll flip it again, and it'll say like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like a almost a deduction thing where if you were to play again, you're like, I want to get to look into the keyhole. How do I get there? And
Yeah.
so you're going to try and so that's kind of like the new little thing I threw in there.
That's
Um,
cool. Yeah, I like that.
and then we have so that the bullseye dice are back.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
So most of the characters use that,
Okay.
and then your main character has his own Finian. He's a beekeeper,
Hmm.
so he has his own system that's unique, and these are the custom dice
Oh, okay.
that you use, and they
Yeah.
have bees, and there's like pollen,
Hmm.
hives, and sickles. So you
Wow.
gotta. It's kind of like you can add attacks. Like if you roll a hive, you can then if you roll like a bee,
Yeah.
you can add a bee to anyone's attack. It'll add
Oh,
additional damage. So
sure.
the bees are kind of like they're like if you
Like,
roll a hive, you can send the bees out to do things.
okay.
Or if you roll a hive, you can use pollen to heal. So
Huh.
pollen heals and bees hit.
Okay.
But you can only use them if another attack is in play.
Interesting.
So
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
that's the core mechanics for the main guy. He can attack, but what you do is you want to pile on bees or pollen on everybody else
Yeah. And like
to and
modifies
then
their stuff. Yeah.
yeah, you can modify and you can collect four bees at a time. So you could for example, wait two turns, try and roll a bunch of bees, and then you know you're you have your character attack, and then you could dump four bees on that attack, add another four damage. So you can kind of pile things up
Yeah.
and launch, and stuff like that. So that's
That's
the
awesome.
yeah. So anyhow, yeah, it's going really good. I'm really excited about the new game. I've been play testing, which is probably it's really it's not very much fun because you're not able to enjoy it. You just sit there and just pick at it and pick at it and pick
Yeah.
at it.
Looking for
And it's
problems
like,
constantly.
yeah, and I'm just like, this is either too easy or it's too hard. And then I have to decide, I'm like, do I want it to be hard? Everyone gets pissed off. If it's too easy, everyone gets pissed off. So it's like, try and find it right in the middle. I don't
Nah.
know. So you just
I,
like, yeah.
I'm sure it'll be great because like I said, every single one I played, loved it. Phenomenal. I'm hyped for this. I
This
can't
one
wait to
should
get
be
it.
a little harder.
Okay.
Um, I know you're probably done. You're like, this guy, man, he won't shut up.
Nah, man, I got time.
Um, no, it's just, when I can actually talk about it, it's fun. So, but this is one of my, I'm excited about this one because, so like, Is that right? Do I put it backwards? Yeah, I put it backwards. So one of the final fights in this one is one of those ones where it's kind of like you put it all together.
Sure. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's the tree, and they're kind of ducking behind the tree, and
Yeah.
you're trying to knock one of the two of them down. But then if you knock one of them down, so it goes like this. Let me show you. All right. So, you have the tree in the middle,
Hmm.
and you have the guys, and then you knock one down, there's another guy that pops up behind like that. So
Yeah.
I was pretty excited about that one.
That's
And
cool.
then I
Yeah.
got and then I got another fight that I actually don't even have produced yet because I added it afterward. It was like I'm still adding stuff because I came up with a new idea and I was like, oh, that's got to be in there, Um, and it was like, oh, that's even better, But everything came out, just so freaking cool.
Yeah.
There's another one,
Nice.
but you can kind of see it's still kind of keeping with the spirit of what has come before.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
Ah, it's great,
yeah, I'm
dude. Yeah.
excited, man. I mean, because the game's more or less done. I'm just fine tuning. So
Mhm.
as soon as it's fine tuned enough, that's a guy that most people probably won't ever see. That's one of the you have to kind of get there. But yeah, so and there is some actual Spire's End characters in there. They're just
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep.
yeah, they're there. They're there. It's just there's only certain I'm trying to hint at it and it'll blow up.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
love it. Nah, and it's great too because like through the last thing I was gonna say too with like Kickstarter and stuff versus this, like Kickstarter people gotta wait a year, 2 years, and whatever, and then they get impatient, right? Versus okay, it's
sure.
pre-order, yeah, you know it's gonna be X amount of time, cool, like ready to go,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, it should be ready in the spring, if not sooner. It's just a matter of, yeah, me just making sure everything goes to the right place and stuff like that. You're still finding like little things, I'm like,
Yeah,
it's not like game breaking anymore stuff. It's more like quality of life changes.
sure,
Um,
sure,
and the last two games went out with some things that I wanted to be a little bit more refined this time. And that's the
mhm,
only thing that could hold us up a little. But yeah, I mean, it should be out before spring is over.
perfect.
Pretty no matter what, really. Because I mean, I could send it out in a week or two and probably be all right. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna play with some more people, have some more people just kind of make sure it's not too hard, too easy.
yeah.
That's where there's a few fights I was playing with my daughter, and she's just like, "This one's too hard, I can't. It's impossible. I can't do it." The last thing I want is the impossible comment that always
Hmm.
drives me. I'm like, it's not impossible, But
Just get
yeah.
better at the
So
game.
yeah. This one you do have a lot more agency. You got to think about things. You got to.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, Rangitaki was like that too. You had to
Yeah.
actually do almost people complain because there's too much to think about. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, you guys wanted more agency. I gave you a lot,
Yeah, here you
and now
go.
you don't want to think about it. You just want to play. I'm like, all right, okay, I can't win,
Yeah,
but
can't please all the people all the
some
time, right?
people like it.
Yeah.
Well, what game do you prefer?
I've always been partial to Hildegard. It's probably the one I put the most time into. I've always loved it. I thought it was really well done. Rangitaki, I because I've only played it probably 8 times through or so. I feel like I still have
That's a
much
lot.
more to explain. Yeah, yeah. It just feels like there's still just like because the problem is I forget some of the choices I make because like I won't play it for like 2 months, and then as I go through, I was like, oh wait, I've done like most of this before,
Mm.
which isn't a bad thing. It's just like I need to like actually sit down and play it back to back to back.
Well, I mean, I tried to make it so that every encounter there's different outcomes too.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? So if you did accidentally do that, you're like, oh well, maybe I try and kill this guy to have this thing
yeah,
done. I mean, that was always my rationale behind it. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah,
You
yeah. Yeah,
you
it's
you got
good.
you got to the swollen guy bobbing in the water, right?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing. That's like my moment in there where that's like my what the hell moment when you're
Yeah.
floating on a giant blubbery guy and things are starting to eat him.
Yep.
You know. So that I have one of those moments in this episode, but it's very foul. It's like it's a lot worse than a swollen fat guy being eaten while you're sitting on top. It's like,
Yeah, I'm
so
excited for
yeah.
it then. Yeah, yeah, that's great. All right, Greg. Well, I appreciate you
Yeah, yeah,
taking the time to
sorry.
talk to us. No, no, you're perfect. Thank you
I
so much
had a
for doing this.
cappuccino right before I got on, so I'm like real just flapping those lips. But
Nah,
okay, yeah, hey, this was obviously it was a lot of fun for me. I love talking about this stuff. I appreciate you listening to all my little um
oh yeah.
all over veering all over the place and not being able to stay on course and talking more than I should, even to this moment. So
No, I appreciate it. I really do.